I'll just give a brief overview and introduction and then hand it over to Amélie first. And then the students who are participating today, please all feel free to gather any kinds of questions. Some of the ventures are actually relatively related to some of your own course projects. So if there's something specific in relation to, what you might learn from it, that would be great. And otherwise, we also are happy about general Q&As and reflections that you might have. Don't be afraid. Also, the speakers. I just wanted to bring this one slide up again, and then I'll stop talking. Right? There's no presentation from my side. I just wanted to give everyone the overview. So we have Amélie Vermeer first, who's going to talk about her experience as an entrepreneur of Spoontainable, and that's, I think, an interesting combination, an exciting combination as a manager in the startup support and incubation for students at the University of Heidelberg called High Innovation, which I think, but maybe Amélie can tell us more, started off being very focused on sort of technical, sort of technology-oriented, potentially medical startups and incubation, but especially, and I hope through people like her, is also focusing on things like sustainable and social entrepreneurship more and more. As the second speaker, we have Tatiana Tsarkova from Enactus Mannheim. Some of the students have come across Enactus already. It's a student initiative at the University of Mannheim, which is focusing on social and sustainable entrepreneurship. And she's going to talk about a project of theirs. As you see, they are quite active in developing these student projects, and she's going to give us some first-hand insights. One of her comments was also that probably we're not going to be able to put the whole talk on it because they're actually currently in the process of registering a patent, which I think is going to be quite interesting and exciting as well. But we'll hear from Tatiana some more later on. And our third speaker is Bertram Fischer, who is the founder of Microagriculture or Mikro Landwirtschaft, which has this strong ecological aspect, but also I think a strong sort of solidarity and community economy aspect combined with it.
Sure.
So
Bertram, I'm happy that you're here. I think for several reasons. I think some of the groups that are, or some of the projects of the students are actually somehow related to what you are doing. So we are interested in greening cities, in developing urban gardens and local agriculture. So I think on the content side, the insights that you will provide will be interesting to many of them. And I think it's also interesting because what you are presenting here is a non-profit organization, right? So we have heard now the talks about how we have to be profitable on the one hand and want to achieve social causes and ecological causes on the other hand. And I think you will still probably have to think about how to finance your activities. But having a stronger non-profit orientation is really interesting to get a fuller picture of the types of different organizations that are out there that we are thinking about in this course when we think of social enterprises. So Bertram, about you, I think you have a background in IT consulting, right? And then decided to grow local food sustainably. I mean, this is quite a heap. That's quite a change of career. And I leave it then at that. I think what is particularly interesting about your model that you on the one hand have very local focus. You really focus on growing food locally. You're just around the corner where I live, actually. And on the other hand, you also develop an online platform, right? And combining these ideas of having local initiatives and being active locally, having concepts that you develop and prove locally, and at the same time developing a platform and supporting others in doing similar things, right? So as part of your scaling strategy, as I see it, is really an interesting combination. And I leave it at that and give the floor to you. And I'm looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you. That was a really nice introduction. Yeah. So, is it working now? Can you see my slide, or do you see my mail?
No. We see all of your secrets. No, we see the slides. That's
very good. Yeah, I just changed from one desk to the other. Yeah. So you're right. We are doing two things, but the stuff that is our main topic is building the platform for agriculture. As you said, I'm Bertram Fischer, and I did a bit away from Bionade. It's a organic drink, to an American IT company for ERP systems and software, as well as I did change from economics in Uni Mannheim to the master in business at the more alternatively oriented Alanus Hochschule. Yeah, so I have both perspectives always in this on my way. Yeah, and in the beginning, I just want to tell you we are hiring. We are searching people that help us to grow. And so now some words about our history. As you said, Dominika, microfarming is a non-for-profit association, and this has many advantages. The disadvantage is, as you could say, there is no exit option, but as we have the possibility to be a non-profit, helps us, especially in the beginning phases, to get easier money. So we do not have as much financing problems because there are many people with money around that are willing to give it to an association or to prefer to give it to an association than to give it to someone who might put it in his own pockets. Yeah, so this is why we have the advantage to get financed quite easy. We are already we started already some years ago, so we are not completely at the beginning, but we are still only 2 full-time people. And as I said, we are funded by foundations, especially they are national-wide, yeah, and support us with many help and money. Yeah, so we started our idea. I was a business consultant, IT consultant, traveling through Europe, and we said, okay, we need to support and eatable cities, or we need to support local agriculture in the cities, because we said if we want to save the world, it's necessary to reconnect with it, and as well with ourselves. So we look for where is the place where we can best reconnect, and we said this is gardening, where you work with the hands in the earth and where you see where the life is coming from and your food. So this is why we did this, and then we thought about how to realize. And so we said, okay, we need an online platform for agriculture to open this market for community acres, and we need to help others to do community acres in their place. So we help others to start and operate new community acres because it's a lot harder than you think, and we try to tear down barriers and make it easy. This is our core mission. So what is a transformation? We try to to change the production of food from globally producing to that the consumers become prosumers or producers and consumers as well. And and there are so many benefits in producing your or grow your own vegetables that give a high value, added value to these vegetables. Although they look the same, but for the people they are different. So as I said, we try to transform food production from consumer to prosumer, from global to local, from standard to diverse. So also not optimally grown carrot is also will also be eaten. From monoculture to permaculture, from species extinction to promoting biodiversity. From, as I said, from price to value. So it's not about the price of the carrot, it's the history or the story that is connected to it. It's knowing how much work, how much love you put inside, and that's why it's the price or the it doesn't need to compete with the carrot in the supermarket. And what is also important is that we do not try to go back to the processes of history, but we try to merge the benefits of industrial production with the traditional production, with the help of the future, as with digitalization and standardization and so on. So we try to create a standard space where the people can experience and can do their own stuff. This is how a Mikro Landwirtschaft community acre looks like.
Sorry, Bertram, I think we are not following your presentation. You seem to change the slides, but I am at least still on the first slide.
Okay, that's not so good. Thank you for...
Sorry.
So...
Yeah, now something happened. I see the acre. Yeah.
You see the acre now?
Yes.
That's great. Very good. Okay. So now you see the acre. This is how the acre looks like. And there are many different small fields where people can grow their own food. And this is our where we try to build a prototype to show how it works and to prove how it works. And this is this is how we can prove to the world that it's working and how it's working and how nice it is. And we learn from it and can put all our learnings into the software and into the platform. So this is one of our 4 acres that we have in Mannheim and Heidelberg. And yeah, so that now you have a picture. In this QR code, you can find a video about this one of our acre. Yeah, so now about our mission. It's to make community acres easy, as I said, community acres like I showed you, and to create scalability. So to reduce complexity, we said, okay, we need to use strict standards. So this is why our fields are all squared, and there are many. We try to standardize as much as possible. And the other point is we try to outsource to the customer. So we make the customer to farmer. The customer is, or the consumer is the entrepreneur of his vegetables, and we try to make him as much entrepreneur as possible, as much farmer as possible. And we deliver a full service package to the supplier so they can easily manage these community acres. And also important is that we are the brand and the platform for urban farming, so that if someone thinks about urban agriculture, is talking about Mikro Landwirtschaft or micro farming. So to reduce complexity, we need to make the people farmers. We do not need machines. We digitalize consulting and have a strict frame. So that is makes it so all of our community acres look the same. This is coming from my ERP consulting, IT consulting background. The big topic in this industry is no modification, is what they say. So it's always try to sell the standard, and especially in Germany, it was hard for the customers because they were used to get everything customized. Customized first was then left behind, and it came no modifications. So use standard. And in ERP systems, this is more hard than in a community acre. So we try to do this in the community acre, and it's very successfully. So as I said, we standardize the beds, the rows, the tools, instructions, guidance, software. So it's for us, we can give the same instructions to all our 1,000 members that, or to all the 1,000 people that grow their own food. And we can say, okay, look, take care. Next week you can plant the tomatoes, and it's for all the same, working the same. The next point is deliver full service. So we try to help the other suppliers to not to make all these mistakes that we did, and to learn from our experience that we did. We deliver software, help, and everything that they need to start a community acre. And at the moment we are doing 3 community acres in cooperation with the city of Mannheim in Käfertal, where we do it as a service. So as you say, it's you can say community acre as a service. It's also from software. So where we they can rent our product. And we try to expand this. We have our own community acres, but they are for learning and development aspects important, and for marketing, but especially important for the future. For the scaling is also that we do a community acre as a service. Yeah, and last, be the brand. So we try to be the communication tool for for the community acres and deliver networking, lobbying, trust, reputation. So we do the impact measurement on our own acres. So last year we did a big one on ecological impact, and we deliver science, research and development. So we try to have a really full service offer to other suppliers who try to make or who do their own community acres. So as I said, we did we measured the ecological impact and found crazy many animals on our acre there. So it was about 160 different species, and these were all that we could take good pictures from. So there are far more, and even in the soil. And so we had really a big impact that we found last year, because if you go to the acre, you know that there are many animals, but it was great to get this documented. And we did not do this only for fun. It was also very helpful for our existence, because we had some trouble. This year we will try to measure the social impact. We did already many evaluations and tried to collect as many data as possible, but there we are. This is what we are going to do this year. So our next steps are to scale up the prototype. As I said, there we are ready for a master thesis or for social impact measurement. We want to make our platform #1. So there we have an intern for the platform growth. Open. We want to be the most or a really important problem solver in this sustainability topic. So we want communication and lobbying, and we build up the implementation accelerator. So a program for new starters in community acres. And there we are also needing more help. Thank you for listening. That's what was my presentation.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very, very insightful. And to emphasize perhaps the idea that someone perhaps might get interested in social impact measurement, it's at least for the Mannheim students really possible to do it together with me and Bertram. And you wouldn't even start from scratch, because you have already surveyed your users, right? And you have a lot of data, and it probably would be possible to conduct another survey this summer or after this season. So anybody who would be willing in broadening his or her knowledge in this context, please contact us, right? Okay, but now I stop the marketing and hand over to Veronika for your question.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. I sort of have a two-pronged question. I was just wondering, what scale do you kind of hope for, expect to see? How widespread do you expect this kind of, I'm not going to try and say it in German, but acre community gardening to be? And do you think that the lack of flexibility and the rigidity of the structure of the gardens themselves will be a problem when you're scaling up? Thank you.
Yeah, so our goal is that every part of the city will get a community acre, or that every inhabitant in the future has the possibility in his area to grow his own food. So this is our goal, but for the next years we try to find as much as possible in this region and start as many as possible. But we can, our goal is in the future. We hope that there's a ban, that there are many of these. And the second question is the flexibility for of these fields. So the one big question is to get the land, because there's a hard competition about land, and there's a long tradition that all people rent their land to farmers, and the farmers don't even know who is the renter, and so they just work on the field for generations, sometimes, or for a long time, and so to get on this to get these fields for micro farming is very hard, and so we sometimes need to adjust. But we have some other restrictions, so this is really a topic. But the good thing in Germany, at least, the communities, the cities, they own lots of land, and so our goal is to get the cities to rent their land to social and ecological initiatives. But we are not there yet.
Okay, thank you. It's a really heartwarming picture to have everyone having their own little micro gardening, having their own fresh carrots. I'm sure a lot of people will be better off for it. So thank you so much.
Roman, you're next.
Yes, thank you for your insights, Bertram. I have a question, because you just mentioned that obviously space is pretty restricted or limited in cities. Did you ever consider putting gardens or acres on rooftops, even in the vertical or an angled space, for example, on walls, something like that?
Yeah, so we thought about all the possible range of where it's possible to grow food, and if you compare it it's far more costly if you do it on a rooftop, because you need to put the ground there, and you need a lot of far more material to put up to get up there. And in Mannheim, as you see, there are not so many flat roofs, and usually you get problems with the building stability, and so it's absolutely not competitive at the moment. Also, because the food is still so cheap in the supermarket, so there's no chance for competitiveness. And we also think that we also prefer to grow it in the living ground. But we also have a project pilot with high beds to go into the city. So it's on pallets, as you know, maybe the same concept, but it's not the willingness to pay is not there yet. So to grow on the field is just far cheaper than everything else.
Okay, so you just mentioned it's not competitive, the willingness to pay is not there. Do you think the willingness to pay, not for vegetables or any kind of crops, but people would be willing to pay to have like the experience of a garden on the rooftop? Because like especially in large cities, it's really hard to find green places, and some people would maybe like to hang out in a green place, have a barbecue with their friends or something in a garden. Would you think there's some sort of willingness to pay for that experience, not just the crops themselves?
I don't know, because there are many questions about it. How can, especially in Germany, we have many insurance risks. So if people go to the rooftop, they can fall down, and even we have to pay 1,000 euro about per year for insurance. That if people eat the wrong crop, if people hit themselves with tools and stuff like this. So if people go up to the rooftop, I think you need to build up so many fences and stuff. That's just a very expensive thing.
Okay.
But you might try for. I'm not expert in this.
Thank you, anyways, for your insights.
It's really cool to see, because Roman and his group are working on an idea of sort of greening spaces. And I think one of the differences that we have here is, Bertram, that you have a very strong focus on this community aspect, right? So that people just, basically go there from the neighborhood. And I think, Roman, so don't be sort of discouraged. I think you and
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to.
No, I'm not saying that, because it's also very important to sort of, think about how things fit together, whether there's a willingness, what would need to come into play. But I think sort of the angle that Roman, you might have, is really this kind of, individualized kind of thing as well, right? So people living in the same building, where, all of these issues around people from somewhere else are coming in, and insurance and these kinds of things are maybe not as sensitive as in Bertram's case. And what I just also wanted to mention briefly, I love this idea of sort of standardizing everything, because it's so counterintuitive. I think there's a lot of community initiatives that just don't really fly, because of the fact that people just all do their own thing. And I love that, like, transferring this mindset from the IT context to this, and then saying, we need to have everything standardized, because otherwise we're not going to be able to organize it. But maybe, Michael, if you also had one last question before we're running a bit out of time, but we want to leave maybe at least sort of 10 or 15 minutes internally for your questions that you might still have on the presentations.
Yes, thank you. If it's not a problem, I've got maybe like two questions, because how is it with this Mikro Landwirtschaft? Because sometimes the land in the city is it belongs to, let's say, one person. So if they're willing to take your services and plant there, how actually they split the veggies and stuff that is growing there into different? Is this something like socializing aspect or communities? So yeah, and also that especially these pictures reminds me about allotment gardens. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Allotment gardens.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Poland. I'm from Poland. It reminds me because we've got, let's say, a big land in the city that is split it into smaller parcels, and some people can rent it for building their own garden and stuff. So it's kind of familiar for me. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for your presentation, and it's really inspiring because, like George said, we're working on something similar, maybe in some different aspects, but Yeah, thank you.
I think the question was about how is the food distributed among the members of the
yeah,
community.
I did not have the, sorry, I did not have
I wasn't sure if you
time
heard
to, you know, thank you. I did not have the time to explain our community acre concept, but we have 50 or 100 square meter parcels. Like this is 100 and this is 50. And so there are teams of 2 to 4 people growing on 50 square meters their own food. So they produce the food for themselves, and there's no distribution. So this is why we said we need to make the people farmer. We need to make the people entrepreneur, and so they can decide for themselves on their 50 square meters and or 100 square meters. We also have some community beds around there in the back and for potatoes and stuff. But actually it's like that small teams produce for themselves.
Thank you.
Perhaps one last question to you that we might open up to everybody. I think what was interesting to hear was that you said as a non-profit organization, you actually have better access to financial means than a for-profit organization potentially. That surprised me. I mean, oftentimes you hear the other way, the other perspective, that it's really much more difficult when you don't have, you know, an income model that can become self-sustained at some point of time, that it's more difficult to get access to money. But of course, in your particular case, where you can rely on foundations, on other types of donations, perhaps on support from the state, this might be different. My question would be, I don't know, if it's provocative, do you think that this is will remain like this over the next 10 years or 20 years, or however you will need until we have these kind of models in all the cities? Or do you already thinking about whether it might be necessary to develop an income and a revenue model at some point, like for instance, paying a small fee for using your services, or these kind of things? So is this something you already think about, or you say, no, this is out of the question, we don't want that, or perhaps, yeah, we have to see how it goes and decide in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so we also that we are not for profit, we still earning money to pay what is needed. And so this is for me not a necessary. So we are earning money, and it's just for those that donate to us or give money to us, that they have no chance to get it back. But at the moment there are enough people to do so, and I think as it is often with platforms and stuff like this, it takes the time until they earn enough, and I think it's similar with us. So for the community acres, they more or less carry themselves, but the platform will take probably some time until we will earn enough to pay all the bills. The good thing is that we do not have to pay for the investors, and that we are quite free from the impact or the of the investors. So yeah, we see a business model, as you could say, or we see that it will that we will earn enough to grow and to do our job in the future. Yeah. We do not believe that we will need donations forever.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Bertram, for these interesting insights. We now have, I think, the full spectrum with what you were saying, non-profit, but of course, I mean, you're making money, you need to pay the bills, and I think there's also some sort of design space in how far you sort of make this more of a sort of a service model. You were saying we have this service by providing this stuff to people, and actually one of the things that make it potentially fly is, you know, transferring the responsibility to the people that are farming their stuff. And at the same time, again, I'm really fascinated by this idea of standardization, right? Because it's also, to some degree, you would almost think it's in conflict with this idea of community, but maybe you need standardization to keep up the community. So really a fascinating case here. And thanks again to all of the students for your many questions and the different inspirations that we had from our speakers. Bertram, we will, give the last few remaining ones the opportunity to ask some questions about the course. So thanks a lot for being with us. And we hope that someone's going to be interested also in maybe working on their master thesis on the impact, which was also fantastic to hear about. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.